US President Donald Trump said he deployed 2,000 National Guard troops to LA on the weekend to crack down on immigration protests, ignoring the objections of California's own governor. The protests had begun on Friday, when word spread that agents from ICE, or Immigration and Customs Enforcement, were about to raid a clothing warehouse in downtown LA to deport migrants they said were illegally in the country. Later that afternoon, hundreds of protesters gathered outside the LA Federal Building, demanding an end to immigration raids in the city. Authorities fired pepper balls at protesters and arrested over 100, dispersing the crowd. But the next day, rumors of another immigration raid on a Home Depot led to clashes between protesters and authorities elsewhere in downtown LA, with officers shooting tear gas and flashbang grenades and protesters throwing rocks, glass bottles, and fireworks at vehicles as they gathered around the Metropolitan Detention Center where migrants were held. That evening, Trump ordered 2,000 National Guard troops to LA to protect officers carrying out immigration raids.
We're going to have troops everywhere. We're not going to let this happen to our country. We're not going to let our country be torn apart.
Ordering in the National Guard is seen as a response to major riots or insurrections, rather than low-level clashes. The last time the Guard was sent into LA was during the infamous 1992 riots, the most destructive local unrest in the country's history, during which over 12,000 people were arrested. This was not seen as a similar situation. California's Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass both said that local authorities had the situation under control, and bringing in the National Guard would only create more opportunity for violence.
What we're seeing in Los Angeles is chaos that is provoked by the administration. When you raid Home Depot and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic. And deploying federalized troops is a dangerous escalation.
Trump said the troops were needed to tackle the violent insurrectionist mobs trying to stop deportation raids. He said these raids were needed to liberate LA, which had been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. The standoff intensified in its third day, with authorities firing tear gas and rubber bullets and protesters blocking a freeway and vandalizing property. LA Police Chief Jim McDonnell said the LAPD would not have called in the National Guard, but looking at the violence today, I think we've got to make a reassessment, as protests were getting worse and more violent. As a result, LA, which is home to a large Latino community, has become the epicenter of Trump's immigration crackdown across the country. One of Trump's main campaign promises had been to crack down on illegal border crossings and deport undocumented migrants after widespread perceptions that Biden had lost control of border security. Rare but high-profile crimes committed by migrants added to this perception, as with the murder of college student Laken Riley by a Venezuelan migrant in February last year. Under strong pressure to meet Trump's target of 3,000 deportations per day, ICE has been raiding restaurants, workplaces, farms, foreign students, and even detaining immigrants who are showing up for their hearings at immigration courts, after Immigration Chief Stephen Miller blasted officials for not doing enough and told them to get creative. Miller urged officers to show up at everyday places like Home Depot and 7-Eleven and arrest not only those they have warrants for, but others suspected of staying there illegally. This has caused backlash in cities like New York, LA, Houston, Miami, Illinois, and Massachusetts. But Trump's crackdown has popular support. Some 54% of Americans support his deportation programs and believe they're prioritizing dangerous criminals, while 42% think they make the country safer. Trump is eager to meet his promise of 1 million deportations a year to satisfy his Republican voters, 93% of whom support his policy. But meeting this target is tough. With the border essentially shut down, most deportations will have to come from internal operations within the US rather than turning away migrants at the border. As a result, in cities most affected, protests like those in LA could continue to erupt as residents grow scared and tired of raids on their communities. Trump calling in the National Guard is a way to accuse migrants and the protesters trying to protect them of causing chaos, justifying his expansion and militarization of the immigration crackdown as part of a law and order campaign. But how far the standoff will go and how violent it could get is yet to be seen.